Well, hello everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in today as we unveil the latest release, FME 2021.1. My name is Dale Lutz. I'm one of the two co-founders of Safe Software.
Yeah, and my name's Don Murray, and I'm the other co-founder. And one of the things that Dale and I really enjoy is the opportunity to share with you the great work that the team at Safe has done. So with FME 2021.1, here we go.
And this year, we're looking at really the underlying theme of what we're attempting to accomplish with our FME releases. And it really is an ongoing journey to expand the power of what we can bring to people doing enterprise integration. And Don, I'm pretty excited with what has been accomplished. There's some pretty amazing things we get to unveil today.
Yeah, there really are. And it's really exciting to see. You know, this is a .1 release, but as you just hinted, there's some pretty significant things. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So for those that don't know much about us, we are from Safe Software. We've been around getting to be a long time, Don, 27 plus years. And we're used all over the world, and we really take that seriously. We know people do amazing, important work with our products, and that's what keeps us and our team coming to work each day.
Yeah, absolutely. We also get to work with amazing partners. So you'll see there's 150 partners around the world. We build the technology and support our partners and have our own support network. It's our partners who actually work to deploy it as well around the world. And so the community number, actually it's wrong. I heard from Brian that it's actually 16,000 plus, but that's okay. 15,000 plus and 16,000 plus. There's a large overlap.
It's a moving target, Don.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, no, and we so value all the members of our community that contribute and basically make us better and help each other really on a daily basis. So it's a great group for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so this is exciting. So this is the Gartner Magic Quadrant. To be clear, this whole diagram is the Magic Quadrant. I mean, there's some, it's not just the upper right. So you can see Safe Software on the right, on the left there, and I'm at the top. And yeah, so you know, it's a huge accomplishment to be in this quadrant. And we look to Gartner. We work with them closely to understand what we can do to even be a better data integration tool. And
yeah.
And we're looking forward to, you know, August 2021 when the new one comes out. Yeah.
See if we've moved.
Yeah.
It is really an honor.
Go ahead, Dave.
It's an honor to be in such lofty company there, and we take that very seriously.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, so our mission is really simple for folks. Organizations are, you know, there's just a deluge of data of all types coming from all sorts of sources, lots of applications. All applications have data. They can send it out, they can send it in. And our data is just to help you maximize the value of your data so that it's not sitting somewhere, but is always, you know, enabling you to drive decisions. So that's what our mission statement is. Yeah.
And there's features in this release that are all about that. I mean, that's really what drives ultimately all the work that we do. So we're very excited to show you how we've pushed that forward in the last number of months.
Yeah, and this is our platform. And you can see desktop, server, cloud, and on the right there is mobile, and it's becoming more significant, and you're going to see us talk about that more and more as time goes on, and even in today's talk. But you know, and really the key thing, if you know, looking at those other vendors, the thing that separates us from the other vendors is we are the only enterprise integration with support for spatial data, and we don't mean just points, you know, latitude and longitude. We mean spatial data of any kind, and no other enterprise integration platform touches us on that. The other big thing is the no code, Dale. Like, we truly are a no code platform, which is, you know, hard to do, but exciting.
Yeah. And when we talk about support for spatial data, it's, as Don said, it's not surface. So even 10 years ago, we had a partner company say to us, wow, is your product ever deep? And it's only gotten deeper since then. And we really doubled down on ensuring our algorithms are top notch and something that we're extremely proud of. And that, hang on till the end of this presentation, there's some big improvements in that area of spatial data handling that we're going to be unveiling too.
Absolutely. Yeah, and these are some business trends. So as we're building this deck, we thought, well, how can we, you know, tie what we're doing back to the things that we're seeing in industry? And so these are the the three things. The first one is the rise of spatial data. We're going to talk about that, how organizations and vendors are adding support for spatial data to their tools. And the reason is that there's a demand from customers. Yeah. So the second one there, Dale?
Yes, we're just, we said at the beginning, we're really doubling down on seeing how we can allow the entire enterprise to be integrated. So we're working to connect the data and the applications and even the devices so that decisions can be powered with the most recent and freshest and up-to-date information that's consistent. And so there's a lot of work that goes on to pull that off, and that complements the fact that we work with Spatial. So we're really trying to do best of breed in terms of application integration, at the same time carrying along a detailed idea of where things are.
Yeah, yeah. And the last one, Dale hinted about that, but really data volumes are just increasing. The types of data is increasing. Data streams with IoT and sensors, data streams are increasing. And so this whole idea of being able people to make decisions faster, gain insight into what's going on is really, really key. So those are the three big trends that we're going to talk about today, and how FME 2021.1, that's easy to say, fits. Yeah.
Yes, well, let's go right into it. So first up is the rise of spatial data. And really, many of our users know the importance of spatial data, but some of them are new to that area. And so we just want to reiterate the importance of where to what an organization is up to and how that can be leveraged to really improve the making of decisions.
Yeah, and that's best indicated by these are other vendors who have added spatial, and many of them it's relatively recent. So Snowflake is recent. What other one's really recent there, Dale?
Well, Google BigQuery, they were fairly fresh off the block and wrote a very interesting thought leadership piece. I think it was in Forbes or something, one of those that really underlined the critical nature of spatial data to the enterprise.
Yeah, yeah, and of course the databases on the various different cloud vendors like Amazon, they've added spatial to more and more. And Tableau, you see them starting to be able to work with spatial data. So, and there's many more. We just touched on the ones that are, Oracle's spatial supported spatial for a long time,
Yeah.
and they continue to extend that. And yeah, and the reason is it's important. Spatial is not special anymore.
No, Oracle, I think, might have been first off the block all the way back in, I think, the mid 90s, really near the beginning of SAFe, with something called Oracle Multidimensional. And we supported that, and we've been with them all this time as well. But it's been interesting to see them all. I don't see, we don't have PostGIS on here, but it's also been around forever and heavily used. Oh, there it is, PostgreSQL on Amazon RDS, but nonetheless, huge user base of that. And we continue to always make sure that we're supporting it as best we can.
Yeah, yeah, and that should have been here really, but oh well, we missed one. It's hard.
Well,
yeah, they're a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Paul Ramsey.
That's right. Sorry about that, Postgres. And yeah, so this slide just shows where spatial data is found. So if it's a solid red box, that means it's all spatial. So indoor mapping, that's spatial. AR, VR, of course, you're putting things into the real world. So location is important. Point clouds, BIM, 3D. And then the dashed ones are where spatial data is found. So, and we're finding it everywhere. It doesn't matter what the data type is, what the encoding is, what the source is. We're seeing the need and people figuring out how, in some cases, how to cram in spatial data in very inventive ways. And and of course, it's all supported by FME. So you're not going to find another enterprise integration tool that can even come close to this.
And it is interesting how from time to time, even lesser used things for many workflows, things like raster become important because data is in there that is useful to augment whatever you're doing. So you never know which of these things are going to be powerful in your application, but our tool lets you bring them all together to create whatever your output is.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and so that's our strength. Our strength really, when you look at our stuff compared to any other tool out there that's in the enterprise integration realm, is we bring the power of spatial data to your decision making like nobody else can. So that's our strength. Yeah, and that's our bold claim.
Yeah. And so all of that lays the groundwork for the whole effort that we went underway with for the latest FME platform release 2020.1 that we're pleased to kind of focus on some of the highlights for all of you today.
That's right. And I'm going to say that I think the Lizard is more of a roller coaster fan than our little robot, which is the Zipster. Yeah.
The Zipster looks a little nervous, and there's all those transformers lined up to get on the roller coaster. But Don, are you buckled in? Should we?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, ludicrous mode. Here we go. So starting off, we added support on the spatial side for something called Mobile Geodatabase. We track carefully with our friends and partners over at Esri the latest developments that they are undertaking. And with this release, we have full support for the Mobile Geodatabase, which is a way of storing spatial data inside of SQLite that can then be used for mobile apps. Yes, this is one for many workflows where you might be using things like FME Data Express, or you may get images that were captured on iOS devices. They're no longer in JPEG in their native form. They're in, I don't actually know if you pronounce it HEIC or HEIC, but nonetheless, we can now decode those and read them directly into workflows. So that saves a friction point for a lot of applications that involve mobile image capture.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yep, and also to connect to more systems, we've now this is on the server side, the ability to connect to Microsoft Teams more, to be able to enable messages to be sent, received, and monitor chat rooms and things like that. So it's there's a Microsoft Teams connector. So check that out. You can run it on the desktop, but typically it's on the server side. So and just more about bringing the power of spatial and making sure that FME can connect to anything within your organization. Yeah.
And if you're a Microsoft Teams user, please let us know how we can make that better. We ourselves don't use Microsoft Teams, so that puts us a little bit at a disadvantage. We're not on home field turf here, but always interested to know how we can improve that for those of you using that, which we recognize is a very, very important platform for so many businesses, especially as we come out of the pandemic now.
Yeah, and the next one is Azure Service Bus. SAFE for years has supported, AWS. So Azure Service Bus, if you know AWS, is like SQS and SNS combined. And so Azure Service Bus is a publish, subscribe technology, and you can see what we can do there. We can receive from a queue, we can, receive from a subscription, we can send messages to a queue or a topic. And so now one of our fundamental goals at SAFE is to be platform agnostic. And so now you're going to see with this, we definitely address the ability to embrace Azure even much better than we have before. So we're pretty excited about that one.
Yeah, big deal. So on the enterprise integration side, we got a few really interesting things here, and it's exciting to unveil them. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first one is it's called the split merge block. Thanks to Dale and a few others that greatly came up with a name that was much better than the old one. And the idea here is in automations, they're inherently parallelizable, so you can inherently run things in parallel. But before, you couldn't control. Once you had things parallel, you couldn't bring them back together and then do things in sequence. And so sometimes you might have something in parallel, but you want to wait until everything's done before you go down and do some finishing up. So in the split merge block, now you can control when the parallelism starts, and at the end of that block you draw, it'll only leave when everything within the block is done. So this is really exciting. Again, no code, so you don't have to write a single line of code or even know how to code to pull this off. So this is really, really exciting. Yeah.
So I imagine, I know, Don, you've done some good videos explaining that, and digging into it, it's kind of, I've suggested that it's kind of like a graphical way of controlling the map reduce type functionality of Hadoop, and that's now possible inside of FME Server. So that box you see in the screen right there defines a chunk of functionality where the job can be split out. So you could do every state in the US as a separate job, but then coming out of that, you get a chance to bring them all back together. And you'll only leave that when all 50 of the US states were done. And then you could do some kind of reduction or summarizing of those results. So it's really, really powerful way to do parallel processing and then get control of it at the end. And combined, Don, this has got to be an interesting thing with when used in combination with the dynamic engines
Yes.
functionality. Do you want to say a few
Yeah,
words
that's
about that?
exactly what I was going to say. But you hit the nail on the head there, Dale. Because with dynamic engines, you don't pay for the number of engines or processing yet you can do it at peak. You just pay for the amount of work done. So going back to Dale's United States example, you could have 50 engines there and actually process all 50 states at exactly the same time, and then carry on with a single thread to do the summary information and things like that. So extremely powerful. And we've seen, for our World Fair, we did a case where we had 1,000 engines all running at the same time. And again, you just paid for the work done. So we showed how to make a year's worth of processing in 1 hour, and dynamic engines and this technology really make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Taken in combination ultimately with the elasticity that things like Kubernetes can bring to the table for more advanced IT organizations, it's extremely powerful. So it's going to be exciting to see what customers do with this when they get this in their hands for a while.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Big deal.
It is a big deal. So, yeah, and this one again goes back to, as we move into this dynamic engine world where these things are flexible, how can we make it easy for administrators to define rules on where processing resources are allocated dynamically? So with these engine assignment rules, you can specify these rules based on workload that's sent to different queues. And the dynamic engines, or it doesn't have to be, but the engines will then move where the work is. And so you can control that. And the engines can move from queue to queue whenever they're idle, or if they're idle on a regular basis when jobs arrive, they'll look and reevaluate. So it's and the things we added in 21.1 is now you can assign engines based on the amount of memory they have and the processor count. Because you might have some big jobs and you want to assign an engine that is really beefy, whereas you might have some really lightweight jobs that are maybe talking to a REST API, and you want to have very, very small engines that aren't so beefy. Yeah.
On the mobile side, we've continued to grow that team, and they're doing some really interesting work. I know there's lots of folks out there waiting for the FME augmented reality app on Android. And for those that aren't aware, augmented reality apps are free. And if you can get your hands on an FME AR file, then you can display using that. Yeah. So FME AR is available now on Android. On iOS, that's kind of been where we do the initial work. Yeah. And on Android, you can do almost everything, but it's not quite geo-aware yet. I know that the team is working on that to integrate the GPS functionality so that you can place the model in the real world in the right spot. That isn't quite there, but we're getting really, really close and close to parity there. The FME AR writer prepares augmented reality files for use in the augmented reality apps. And what we've realized is that really, we want to give the option for you to target the platform that you're going to consume the file on. And the reason is that lets us be the most efficient for each platform. So under the covers, in the old days, we used to store just one version of the model, and then each platform would do its best with that. Now, what we can do is when you're writing these things out, you say, look, I know I only have iOS people. Look, I only have Android people, or maybe you want to target them both, in which case you get a bit of a bigger file. But in all cases, you'll get a very, very optimized result on the platform that you're on. So we're pretty excited about that. Yeah. And then lastly, FME Data Express is really a smart client for FME Server that can do some additional things because it is a smart client, like let you show background maps, scan barcodes, these kinds of things, save presets and so on. And that has had a complete refresh, and I think it's drastically easier to use. And again, if you're using FME Server and you want a fast way to get data moving either to mobile or from the field back into your enterprise, check out FME Data Express.
Yeah. And if you're interested in AR, if you go to our website and look for some demos on FME AR, boy oh boy, Dimitri's put together some amazing demos. Or if you follow Dimitri at Safe on Twitter or Safe Software, you'll find some great demos there. So just amazing what you can do with AR when it is geolocated. Yeah.
particularly with his insight around what I lovingly call the portable hole, where the AR file actually cuts into the ground and lets you see what's beneath. It's just pretty stunning what can be done there. And we do see users around the world actually beginning to take advantage of this to help them understand where their infrastructure actually is.
Yeah,
Don?
speed to insight. I mean, data volumes just keep getting bigger, and you know, and big data is something that our clients are. We have customers that just have just an enormous amounts of data, and data streaming as well. You know, now with
Yep.
all these things, when you have data streaming by, you want to be able to process that as the data is arriving, so that you can understand what's going on now, rather than if you process it later, it's great. You know, you can see what happened, but if you want to see what's happening now, you need to be able to process streaming data, and we can do it all.
So the time window, Don, you want to talk us through some of the changes in that
Yeah,
one
so
and
the
then
time window
explain what it's for?
we introduced, I think, in 2021.0. And in 2021.0, the events had to come in order, and it worked perfectly. But what happens when you're reading streams is sometimes an event will come slightly out of order. So what we've added now is this this tolerance setting. So if you have a window of, say, 5 minutes, and you can specify a tolerance of 30 seconds. You can specify up to the window amount, and then if anything comes in that space, it'll actually still go in the right window. So once you're outside the tolerance, so if you had a 5-minute window and you had a 30-second tolerance, if something came 15 minutes later, well, now it is out of order. But these out of order things, typically when you're reading a sensor network, are very, 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 very tight. And so now we've added this ability for tolerance. So it's makes a huge difference, solves a lot of problems right at the time window itself. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, a big enhancement for those doing streaming. But Don, before we go to the next slide, I've got a line I want to use on you. I've wanted to use this line for like almost 30 years. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Don, I think I feel the need for speed.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
I know
I
I
do
kind of
too,
look like
Dale.
Tom
I
Cruise
do
as
too.
well.
Yeah, the need for speed.
Here we go. So yeah, a whole bunch of, it doesn't do it justice to have it in a little table like this. This is like a massive amount of effort, spanning in some of these cases years of work
Yeah.
that gets to surface in FME 2021.1. So you can take a quick gander over these, but things like the counter, of course, once we get further down there, the intersector that Don and I know and love so well, it looks like it got a pretty good hit. But look at that bottom one, Don, the spatial relator. Who were the people that wrote the original, do you
I
think?
don't know, Dale. I think there's a couple of people who are probably trying to lay low, but yeah. And the thing that's super exciting to me when I saw this, I asked, you know, is this compared to FME 2021.0? And the answer is yes, because FME 2021.0 actually had amazing improvements on the engine as well. So this is just, you know, an ongoing thing at SAFE. We have a group who's dedicated to making our algorithms faster and faster, whether they be spatial or not, and really, really exciting, because with data volumes growing, performance is something that everybody cares about.
There's I'm kind of a spoiler thing, but for FME 2022, I know of one where where we're up to I think it's 2,000 to 3,000 times faster. So
Okay, okay,
look out for that.
I'm ready. I can't wait.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, very exciting. And these are just the highlights. There's actually other stuff that's gone on that gets us 5% here, 10% there. So in general, as we work so hard always, you should see a bump almost no matter what you're doing with FME 2021. So .1. So we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's a great point, Dale. Yeah, these are not the only things. There's lots of places where we are faster. So
Yeah. Okay, in summary, I had the team pull the number for me this morning. This is the number 1369, all multiples of 3. I'm pretty excited by that, Don. That's the number of enhancements and fixes that the issues were closed in FME 2021.1. So that's a lot of work by a lot of very smart people, working very, very hard, and actually not going anywhere on vacation during this whole time either, Don.
yeah, I know. So yeah, so we expect people are going to be taking vacation soon. So, but anyway, that's just a huge amount of work, and thanks so much. I know I speak for Dale. Thanks so much to the team that we get to work with. And Dale and I, you know, I'm not allowed to have the source code anymore. I don't know if Dale has some hidden
No.
somewhere. But now we get to work closely and just watch these, these people who are just experts in their craft do amazing work, and it's a real honor to be able to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it really, really is. So we hope you find value in these things. We're confident all of you will find something, and so pretty excited to be releasing that today. So
Absolutely.
Don, in summary, let's
Yeah.
see, how did we do on the importance of speed to insight? What do you think?
I think we can put a big check mark there, Dale. With the speed improvements and the ability to also control the parallelism, I think there's lots of great stuff there. Yeah. How about the next one, the continued rise of spatial data?
Well, we found a few formats that we could add into FME to help customers make sure that they have complete coverage there, as well as push the envelope on the AR side. So I think I'm ready. I'm going to be so bold as to give us a check mark there too.
Yeah.
And now, Don, what would you say about enterprise integration?
Yeah, no, definitely. And when we bring spatial to that, and with the the time windower, that is that's spatial enterprise integration. So is the Microsoft and the Azure and automations. Because enterprise integration is across the entire platform, whether you're working on the engine desktop to author these things or at the server. It's all about enterprise integration. Yeah.
It sounds to me like we can give ourselves a check mark there too, Don.
So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we feel so bold that we can say that FME 2021.1 really does deliver on all these fronts, and we're super excited to have you take it for a spin.
Yeah, absolutely. So what can people do to get started? Oh, here we go. So yeah, so you can download a free trial. So go to safe.com/trial. And then we didn't talk about it, but last release we talked about our FME Academy. We're super excited about that. It just takes learning FME to a new level, short modules that you can work through. And there's a plan there where you can learn FME in 10 minutes a day. So that's really, really exciting. Yeah.
It's almost like learning a new language, Don.
That's right. That's right. It is, except you don't have to learn to code. So it's fantastic. So yeah.
Yeah. And then just go ahead and start using FME to optimize your data flows. If you're someone that wants to just take this and use it at home to kick around, there's a free home license as well. If you search for FME home license, that'll walk you through that.
Yeah.
If you want to just learn on the side. And of course, you can, if you're an existing customer, you can hop on over to safe.com/downloads and grab yourself the freshest digital copy of FME 2021.1 out of the oven just moments ago, I suspect, and ready to be used.
Yeah, absolutely. So and keep the requests coming. FME is not done, and that's where those requests came from that we did. And so we really, really value your feedback and ideas on what we can do to make FME's reach expand, or make it faster or whatever. And don't forget to follow us on social to learn both what's going on at SAFE and with FME.
Yes. So thanks so much, everyone, for all your support. Some of you for many, many, many years. We do not take that for granted. Others of you, welcome to the FME family, or we hope even to welcome you in the future if you're just visiting for the first time. We're very excited with what we've created now. But more than that, one of our goals Don and I had for this weird time that we've been going through the pandemic was to come out stronger, and to come out stronger as a company, to come out stronger as a product. And we believe we have, and we're excited to be delivering that to you, and also for the future, because we've got lots of great stuff in store that will be so much fun to share when the time is right in the months ahead. So thanks so much, everyone, and enjoy FME 2021.1.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Dale. It's always fun. Can't wait till we get back in the same room again.
Yeah, Don and I have we're kind of, I think we've not, well, we certainly haven't been in, well, we were once in the same room to sign a paper for about a minute, but other than that, we've kind of been like the designated survivors, each of us, during this whole time.
Yes. So and we hope everybody out there has remained safe through this as well. And we look forward to getting on the road and and meeting you and our partners and our great team at SAFE too. So so stay safe.
Yeah, as Don and I have said, we're just like Willie Nelson. We just can't wait to get on the road again.
That's right.
We will be doing that. We're already starting to think about that. And actually, we might as well throw in a plug. You can get on the road again too yourselves and come see us a year and a month or so from now when we have the long-awaited FME user conference, delayed by 2 years, but it'll be a heck of a good time in Vancouver, that's for sure.
Yeah, August 2022, absolutely. Yeah, can't wait. And Dale, we have a few minutes here, so what can people do while they're waiting?
Please pepper us with questions. We are live and answering right now, but
Yeah.
I think before we get into that, Don, at least in the answering part, let's take a quick peek at some of the highlights of the FME Academy.
Yeah, that's a great, big deal. So yeah, let's do that.
Roll the clip.
Welcome to the FME Academy, your self-serve learning platform. Learn data integration skills to upgrade your resume and boost your career. FME is a powerful platform, and the Academy can show you how to unlock its potential. The Academy is free and easy to use. Log in and take interactive training at your own pace. Quickly learn FME skills by completing modules. You can favorite content to save it for later. Complete hands-on exercises and quizzes to earn badges to show off your FME proficiency. Unsure where to start? We've got you covered. Follow trails, our recommended learning paths, for the fastest way to learn FME. What are you waiting for? Join the FME Academy today at safe.com/academy.